Hi, welcome to SwagVintageAZ. Thanks for joining us again or for the first time. You can find us on Etsy. You can find us on Instagram. Please follow us, like things, say nice things. We love it all. Just going to take a look at these chairs real quick before I keep on with the marketing. Nice traditional pair there. Anyway, we are also at Brass Armadillo in Phoenix, Arizona, booth P2, and that is the Cactus and I-17 location. Cactus Road, I-17 are the major crossroads. Anyway, okay, here I am thrifting. I hit the furniture first, obviously, and I was drooling over this piece because I thought, oh, what a great garage workbench, super long. It even had like an electrical hookup. This is when I really, really wish I owned a truck. I do not. The price on this was $50. So I am sure that someone, who will just use this like crazy had a great find at this thrift, because I would have scooped this up in a second if I had a way to transport it, but I don't. So I had to let that one go. Then here's just kind of a not interesting candle tree. And I'm looking mostly at contemporary used furniture pieces this day at the thrift. So no real big finds here. Into the lamps and lampshades. These caught my eye. I thought perhaps they'd be glass, but it turned out they were like a plastic and kind of I don't even know what that other material was. But now let's take a look over here at the lamps. This was a nice one, very pretty, but at $14.50, a little pricey for me. I don't really need to add to my inventory if you've been following me for a while. There is a video in which I got 10 lamps in one go at a Goodwill during a thrifting. So this one had a vintage cord, though it looks like it might have been painted, and I'm not looking for any project pieces lately. So, there's a cute contemporary owl lamp and a couple other vintage looking lamps, but nothing that's really making me super excited or that I think would be sellable in our booth. I typically only sell lamps at the booth because they're so large and difficult to ship, but I do have a couple for sale in my online shops. All right, this was a cute little figurine, definitely new, nothing vintage about it. And it's a PetSmart, so maybe that came from a store, I don't know. $7.50, not bad. I was a little distracted by the crotch. I mean, just kind of surprised that those details were included, but I'll let that little guy go. And moving along into this, they're just kind of bric-a-brac random shelves. Typically, I find some really great stuff here. This is actually the same Goodwill where I found those amber lucite grapes, which were an amazing find. So here I did find a piece of studio pottery. It looks really contemporary. The glaze seems big box store, I guess, even though it was signed, but it didn't quite have the look that I was looking for. So I did leave that one behind eventually. Okay, on to the next shelf. Really not a lot here. These shelves are looking pretty bare this morning. And even though I do find this pretty cute monkey pod wood bowl in the shape of a duck, which I've never seen one like that before, but for $6.50, I don't even know if I could get that for it at the booth. So we had to leave it. Had it been like $3.50, I might have gone for it. But monkey pod wood is not the seller that I believe it should be, because I'm biased. Here, this is a series of, I think they're Danish plates. I have one that has kittens on it that has not sold, so I run into them constantly at the thrift, and I don't really pick them up because I had an experimental one with kittens, and I kind of feel like if kittens can't sell, probably the other featured animals on that series don't sell either. Here's a nice little paperweight. Looks like a snowflake, but not anything to scream about. And again, just some real empty shelves. Usually these shelves are like a tangle of wires and racks and things. And they're really cleaned out at this visit. Oh, from above, here's looks kind of like a candle holder, perhaps like upside down pineapple. And another one of those blue plates. This was kind of cute, 1971, it's signed. I suppose I could have picked this one up, though it had some damage on the edges, so I don't know if there's really like a market for something like that. I don't typically pick up decorative plates, so it's not really in my wheelhouse. Here's a newer owl. And just taking a second lap, which is always a good idea, but did not find anything. Now here I am in the crystal and cut glass aisle, which even if it was jam-packed with great stuff, sadly clear glass just is not much of a seller. So typically that section I pass by and don't pick up much of anything. It's like a porcelain little shoe. And then again with the second lap, I think I'm getting pretty desperate on this thrift because I'm wishing, look at that. My cart is still empty and we've done a number of shelves. So let's keep moving. You never know. I have had days where it starts out really dry like this. And then for whatever reason, things start to pick up and you find, item after item. This, I thought had some potential because it's in this 80s rose pink. This one was almost a lavender, but with the painted bottom, I was checking to see if it was like a Hager or something like that. Didn't seem high quality enough. It had really thin walls, so we left that one behind. And just looking in vases, not much to see there. Here I thought I spied a little bit of brass, but that was not brass. It was just kind of a painted gold color. And again, just empty shelf after empty shelf. So here I am back in the section, and I'm glad that I went back because narrating this video, I was like, why didn't I pick that up? Well, it looked like it might be a nice studio pottery piece, but as you could see, it had like that fake crazing. So I left that one behind. There's just a clear glass candle holder, which I'm tempted to pick up a bunch of those and make a lot sale out of clear glass candle holders. What do you guys think? Do you think there's a market for that? I'm not sure. If there are any other resellers out there, let me know. And just picking up anything that looks kind of interesting. That last piece I thought was okay, but there wasn't like a matching piece to it. So I left that. And I think I'm feeling a little like downtrodden at this point. Just, it's easier to grab when you feel that you're finding things. This was a nice Nautilus, but it was newer and filled with wax. Looks like maybe it was like a DIY attempt at a candle. So we're not gonna go there. And what is this? Oh, looks like a little Cocopelli wall hook. And I passed on that one as well. All right, I'm in the books searching for that first printing Harry Potter. It's gonna happen someday. And I'm also just in the habit of looking in books now. I did pick up some vintage books that I will show you later that are in my shop right now. But also, I have a lot of readers in my house right now, so I am always looking for like a pretty cheap pickup in the book section. Here I found some comic books, which I know nothing about like the comic book market. I would not know if any of these were relevant or good or a huge score. So if you're watching this and screaming at me, sorry, but I guarantee you someone else who knows what they're doing picked them up. So here I am. It's the end of the thrift and I am putting an empty cart back and walking out. Big fail on this one, but that's okay. It happens. So we moved on to another Goodwill in the same-ish area. And it was a beautiful overcast day. We love those kinds of days here in Phoenix. This one is close to the mountains, so that was kind of nice. But as I'm coming into the shelves, huge disappointment here. I mean, this is their glass section, usually completely stocked, and there's just hardly a thing on the shelves. I mean, big, huge gaps. So I bet that the rest of that day they were filling it up, but I was not there for it. So unfortunately, I just had to deal with it and look for what I could find. I thought this was an interesting little peach color. Didn't see any maker's mark on it, so left that. And here I'm looking for any sort of brown stoneware, maybe studio pottery, vintage mugs, because I have two that I think I could group in like a collection of 4, so I'm looking for more. Here is a piece of either Homeco or Cerakote. This one might be Dart. I didn't catch that. This would be a piece of a sconce. So I went ahead and put it in the cart. You can see right there that there's a piece missing to it. So I thought, this is broken. Even though it's pretty, what do I do? Okay, I'm setting it back. Moving along into the dishware, and I spied right away some Fiesta ware. And as I've mentioned before, we sell Fiesta ware pretty well, so that was just $3 for the 2 of them, which is a pretty good, okay price. I thought these were cute, but for $3.50 each, no way. I mean, love their little curly handles, but not at a price that there's no room for margin there. So I am looking, here's some Franciscan ware in the apples. Hand painted, I have a friend who collects those, but I think he's good on the saucers. And just checking everything. Now, one thing about a thrift store that hardly has a thing, you really do get an opportunity to slow down and pick through every single little item. Whereas if there were a ton of items, you might not pause to examine each shelf so thoroughly. And here, there's another piece of Fiesta ware. Now, this one is $3.50 per plate. A little steep. I don't know that I could get more than $5 or $6 for those. And of course, it all depends on the colors, and I don't have that information memorized. So I typically have to research that and then do my pricing based on that if it's a discontinued color or old. And then here, ta-da, $4.50 per lunch plate in this Rose. I think officially it's called Rose, and then they have a dinner plates for $6.50 each. So again, a little on the high side, and at $6.50 each per plate, I think there's 5 plates there. I mean, that's kind of a large investment for me, but I went ahead and put them in the cart because I'm gonna think about it. So we have things in the cart on this trip, so that is encouraging. And now I'm just checking any bright color to see if this was kind of a nice set, actually, in like a terracotta clay with the inside painted, but I did not want to pick it up for whatever reason. Here's another bright color, not Fiesta ware. And another quick glance through it. I think I picked it pretty dry, so we moved on. Here we're into like wine racks and this very funny mirror with the candle holders. It looks like a little person, I think, with their arms up. Kind of funny, but I think it's newly made, and so I left it, even though it was charming and sort of cute. This was like a wire branch thing that I didn't want to mess with. And then we're into some of the crystal and clear cut glass. Again, just a quick glance through here, but no winners. Then into the vases and candlestick holders. Here I find what looks to be the companion piece for that broken sconce that I had seen earlier, and it has some other pieces taped to it with their screws. So presumably those would be added to the sconce. So then I decided to move around and grab this one and put it in the cart. Now it seems like there's space for the candle part. There's 2 of those, and then there's only 1 hole on each. So I think between these items, I would have had 2 full candle sconces and all of their pieces. So I went ahead and put those in the cart. So those were priced really well. I think the large one was $4.50 and the small one was $3.50. However, they were really clearly broken. So I put them in my cart to think about them and see if I could repair. Again, I'm flirting with the clear glass candle holders. I just need to like pull the trigger, put a lot together and see if I can sell it. Or maybe, actually I need to go online and do some research and see if that kind of stuff is out there. This is a nice piece. However, it was contemporary and it did not have a companion to it. So it's kind of like a leather and brass edged decorative side. And oh, I think I sliced my finger on it, so that definitely went back on the shelf. And looking through more candle holders, this section is where you're going to find your vintage brass candle holders. And this is actually the section where I found those brass and lucite ones from several videos ago that sold immediately. So always got to take a close look here. And if you're really just looking for some decor for your home, I mean, the possibilities are endless on that shelf. And of course, these little wood pieces caught my eye. But for $5.50, those were the only pieces in the bag that I was interested in, so I had to let them go. But it's kind of a bummer because I am trying to get a collection of wood candlestick holders in my shop, little by little. Here I'm just looking to see if it's a original studio pottery piece. It is not. And again, just cruising through all the vases. That looked kind of interesting, but obviously not interesting enough for me. And I think I picked that piece up the last time I was here, that brown one with the texture. And even though this shelf is well stocked, I did not find anything. Here are all the binders, always a mess over here. And what's this peeking out? Oh, a goblet. Let's put it over there. Seemed like it almost belonged on that shelf instead. Here's a nice looking mirror, gold frame, but I was really just kind of checking out these lacquered abstract pieces. I mean, they were like $100 each, so really there was no interest here in terms of reselling them or putting them in my home, but I was just curious and wanted to look at them a little more. Nice mirror here, but a little large for the booth, and I'm not in the market for one, so I let that one go. It was $30 as well, so it's kind of a higher price. There's some monkey pod wood. Always got to at least look at it. There was like a cute little wood vase or planter. Here's something with a lid. Nothing really knocking my socks off over here. And into the Eat, Pray, Love section. And then I found this random tooled leather belt in the wood section. Now, the issue here is that even though it's a really great piece, there was not, and it was signed. So not bad, actually. But sadly, there was no buckle hardware. So that's a little bit of a problem, but I went ahead and put it in the cart because we're going to think about that one as well. Then there was like a metal sculpture piece that I quickly rejected, and that might even be like a myrtle wood bowl, but it had a crack in it, so I left it. Oh, coming back to this one, it's missing its rider. That was like a horse. So we're going to leave that piece as well. don't know what that is. I thought it was like a wastebasket, but it has a hole in the bottom, so I don't know if it was broken or if it was like a weird lampshade. But we moved on, didn't we? And into the clocks, here's a not so interesting wood tabletop sculpture. And then here was looks to be, Japanese characters on a ceramic cup. And then this was an interesting looking planter, but just a little clumsy. And I got to be honest, those look like poop smears to me. It just automatically made me think of doo-doo. So I was like, I don't really want a doo-doo vase, even if it has an interesting shape. Stamp. I remember those from the libraries when I was a kid. So I'm just sort of messing around with it. Clearly I'm getting a little bored on this thrift trip. Just really not getting the zhuzh of finding exciting things. But it's part of the job. You just got to stick with the process and trust it. So here we are in kitchen items. This was a pretty little gravy boat. No signature indication if this was old or new. So I passed on that. And now we are in the lamps, which is jam-packed. I do love those big brass ones in the back. But as everyone knows, I have plenty of lamps. So unless it's something I just get immediately drunk about, I'm probably not going to pick it up at this point. And wanted to take a second look at this floor lamp. Sadly, it was really broken. Didn't have its glass for the torchère top. I don't know how to say that, but I really loved that pedestal. Would have been super cool had it been complete. And then here, I thought these were just funny, these two human sculptures in a lamp. And there's a stack of book sculpture turned into a lamp. This one was pretty. Porcelain and brass. It looked a little old, but left it. And just really picking up these little items. Another faux stained glass shade. Very cute though, really little. I love little lamps. I'm really starting to hunt those down for either the shop or online. And then this was exciting. I found a pair of clearly vintage lampshades for $4.50, pretty good price, and they have those big, huge pleats. So I was super excited to find these. This one's in great shape. So I put that one in the cart, and then I reach up for the second one and give it an inspection. And sadly, it had some massive holes on the inside. So I set that one back. There's no way to repair that or fix it. And it's a real obvious damage once you have a light bulb underneath. I probably should have picked up the one that was in good condition because we have a lamp section in our booth now, officially. So here I am doing a sanity check, and I'm thinking real hard, is it worth it at $4.50 to get this Fiesta ware, $3.50 each? Really the only good deal or okay deal were the lemon colored ones below. And then here's a broken tooled leather belt, some broken wall sconces, $3, $4. Oh, those are pretty good prices. But again, it's a project piece. Do I really want that? And there's no guarantee that like these things will fit back together easily. And then it's $6.50 per plate. And then again, these little lemon yellow ones, that's the only like decent price for the Fiesta ware. So that was just a little review of the prices. Here I am with a Homeco piece. Would have been a good one. However, it was missing something to it. Looks like maybe it was an easel of some kind. Really, really pretty, but broken. So we have to leave that. And looking into the bric-a-brac, hoping to find maybe a brass animal or a cool ceramic animal. But instead, I'm seeing Nothing but decorative plates. Something caught my eye. Wood, of course. Oh, these are some decorative plates embedded in wood that I passed on. And guess what? I put it all back. It was just the prices were too high, the pieces too broken. I had to be discerning there and put my second cart back of the day. So this was a Saturday morning, sadly, and I had to call it quits and head home. So what a bummer. Okay, I'm back at it a couple days later in good old Anthem. This time, I promise, there's going to be things put in my cart and they stay in my cart. So stick with me because it's going to happen this time around. This cart does not stay empty. Okay, so the first thing I see is this outrageously expensive but very intriguing flapper style 1920s Art Deco style lady. And then right next to it is this some sort of plastic mold Bengal white tiger scene for $20, which a while ago I picked up a really large single tiger in this style and it sold from the booth rather quickly. So even though $20 is a little high, I decided to throw that one in the cart. And then here was this very pretty bowl of fruit, also priced high. I did have a bowl of fruit like this, bowl of peaches actually, a while ago by a different maker, but this one was very beautiful, and so I went ahead and grabbed that as well. Now, I think that one was also around $20, $25, and while that's a lot for a single item, I decided to at least put it in my cart and think about it. Here is a waste basket in brass with an embossed sailboat on the side of it. Pretty, $5.50. I mean, good price and everything, but I decided to move on, mostly because the sailboat motif is not something that I'm really attracted to. So we're moving into creepy doll aisle. I think I just got stuck between a pillar and the aisle, yes. So there I squeezed myself away. And I see something kind of shiny back here, but it was a contemporary vase. This I was curious about to pick up, and looks like a giraffe mask, but $25. No, thank you. Then looking into these figurines, kind of random items. They had a lot of dolls this day. That was a tiny little ceramic structure vase type thing. And nothing else there. But then this caught my eye as a very interesting and weird $12.50 large ceramic piece in kind of this deep copper brown, and then it has these teal leaf type pods on the top. Really fascinating piece. I could not find a signature. It had some really cool geometric texture on the side, so I went ahead and put it in the cart. It's really purely just a decorative piece. There's no holes for plants or anything like that. I don't know what else you could do with it. Ooh, that was originally $60. Now it's $25, but a contemporary water duck fowl type piece that I went ahead and left behind. And then here's looks like an old travel game. We can leave that as well. But yeah, back to that large ceramic piece. Just a really fascinating, interesting, one of a kind. Never seen one before. It was very heavy, high quality. So that one is going to the booth, or may already be in the booth now. Here's a cute little wooden wheel. Don't know what it's used for other than decoration, but decided to leave that. This looks like maybe a chalkware piece. And has a boat on it, like a sailboat, $9 and something. So we'll pass on that. Certainly not worth $9. And into decorative plates and some other bric-a-brac. Really taking my time. This was a cute little tiny picture that was, I think, Polish, or maybe made in Holland. I missed the bottom while I'm narrating here, but at $2.50, I thought that was a sweet little pickup that will go great in the booth. And what else do I grab here? Something gold catching my eye, which is not unusual. And as I pulled it out, it was obviously a newer made tray candle holder. So we went ahead and set that back. And oh, and here I find a little studio pottery piece. It still has like its leather strap, hanging strap. I suppose you're supposed to hang it from something upside down. It has that really decorative handle on the top and a cork on the bottom. No clue what it would be used for, but I just thought it was pretty and interesting. So I went ahead and grabbed that. And I think the price was $4.50, $3.50, something like that. So not too much. Then we move into this large jug, which I decided not to mess with any more than I already had. And my camera works like super wild here. Sorry. Hopefully I'll calm down. I guess maybe I got excited because I was finally finding some things. That was a curious piece, but turned out to be newer made. So I left it. And then here we have an Asian carved from cork scene with cranes for $1. Absolutely slam dunk yes. I had a really small one that I sold in the booth that sold really quick. And those actually have good online resale value. So I'm going to do a little more research and see what something that size could fetch me. And then I'll decide whether or not to do booth or online. There's those Libby glasses that I've picked up before in previous videos. I love this glassware section. This is where I have been scoring many glassware items, and today was no exception. Here are some really bright and beautiful teal glasses that were glowing in the store, which is a promising sign. I'm just trying to find a place to put that little guy so I can get this out. Very, very cool shape. Love the color. It was very heavy, $2.50, which is about like top dollar for glassware. But I thought, you know what, I think this will be worth it because that color is so unique. So I went ahead and picked up the 3. And again, as we kind of discussed in one of my previous videos, why not go for the 3 set? I have sold things in 3s before. I don't think that there's a hard and fast rule that everything has to be in even numbers because I've done pretty well in 3 sets. So we're going to go for it. These have such a great feel to them. I was pretty excited to find those. So as I'm looking further in the glass section, all of these colors caught my eye, and they have this really great circular design, and it's like bubbled on the inside. So there's like this inside texture to those. So I went ahead and picked up all of these. Now later when I washed them, sadly the price tags stuck really well to the color, and there was one where the price tag took off the color. So I think that one of them was like maybe a reproduction piece that this collection had. It's that turquoise one, that bright teal one. Maybe they had the original colors that were higher quality and then picked up a piece later, because the other colors, the glass was actually colored. It wasn't just a flashed on color, but that teal one was flashed on and came off with the price tag. So those are going to go in the booth. They still make like a cool collection. So I'm going to sell them as a collection in the booth at like a really low price as is, because I think that they still have some life left in them. Then I'm just double checking because I felt like I had pretty good luck. That looks like another Libby piece, but that scroll on there should be in like a darker brown. Here are some zigzag martini glasses, which I love. I have a pair for sale in my shop right now, and I'm waiting for that one to sell. These were lovely. I loved the texture on them, but clear glass, you know, there's just such a slow sale. Kind of regretting leaving those because I really, really like them, but that's the way it goes. And then here was once a pretty cup, but it's pretty damaged and the gold is really, really scratched off. So we're going to leave that one behind as well. And this looked like an intriguing mug, but then I, with the slow reveal, realized, nope, that's a newer made piece. So we're gonna move on, but that was a pretty successful glassware pickup, I would say. Not that I need any more glassware because this section has been very generous to me for these last few visits, and I have quite a lot in the shop right now. So into the mugs, again, I'm searching. Now this one is really kind of cool. It has its maker and a signature in a black and really bright gold, peacock feathers. But for $2.50, I went ahead and left it. That's kind of a lot for a mug. I try not to pay more than 99 cents or $1.50. Then here, Maxima. I just really liked this. Very late 80s, early 90s, most likely, early 90s. Very Parker Lewis, Can't Lose, if you remember that TV show. I feel like it had like such an aesthetic to it, and every once in a while I come across especially dishware that seems to have that postmodern aesthetic. Here is a made in France black octagonal mug. And I did end up picking that one up. I think I just set it aside for the moment. But I had one in the booth and it sold right away. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that other one eventually. Oh, there I go. So that was the only mug that I deemed worthy enough. And it was 99 cents. So that is the perfect price for a mug. I can sell it for $6.50 and help pay my rent at the booth and hopefully a little profit. This was just a pretty little dish rag, but not pretty enough, and I left it. And then really just searching in these bags for anything catching my eye or intriguing. But we move on into the small arts, and I see this gold piece with butterflies. Turn it around, looks like it's vintage. According to this stamp, or the sticker looks old, and the paper backing all looked like it had some age to it. Plus it was a cute piece, so I went ahead and grabbed that one. And moving into little arts is a really fun section because you do get to dig a bit and you never know what could be hidden. Here I am briefly considering this cute little Harry Potter frame for $1, which now I'm thinking, I could have picked that up for the person in my family who is currently reading the series. Then we're into the big arts. I think we've seen this piece before. I'm always flirting with it. It's $14.50, but clearly no one is picking that one up from the thrift. So chances are if I were to pick it up and put it in the booth, it would be passed by also, in that space. Okay, so now I find for $6.50, now we're talking, this is a really charming, not the most mature artistic piece, but it's in a chalk pastel. It's done really well. I like the colors. Looks like it has some age to it. And it has a really great amateur vibe to it. It's difficult to find that line between kind of like, oh, okay, moving along here. This I discovered had a big crack in the back as I showed you. So I was just kind of showing off that discovery. But anyway, yeah, like when it comes to art, like there are some pieces that are made by students or young artists or just new artists, and they look real clumsy and it just doesn't quite work for whatever reason. It's tough to put your finger on it. But then there are other pieces that is part of its charm. So I really like those pieces, and I think that owl fits into that category. Into the lamps, of course. This one was pretty and nice, kind of Asian style. Checking the plug there to see if it's older, and typically with that kind of brown plug it is, but I felt like not quite enough for me to acquire another lamp. And the good news is, this one's a really cool trophy lamp. The good news is we have set up our lamp department in our booth, so I get to buy more lamps, because presumably the lamps will sell, fingers crossed, right? So eventually I'll be able to get some more. Now this was a curious little glass piece, it looked newer, so I left that, or maybe it was kind of homemade, but couldn't quite make sense of it, so I left it. And that's going to be it. Oh, this one is really just kind of charming and fun, you know, filled up with seashells. That one's filled up with rocks. A lot of container lamps on this trip, but left them all behind. All right, into some clear glass vases, a lot of just floral pieces, you know, whatever might come with a bouquet that someone buys you. A lot of those end up at the thrift. And then into these vases, what I'm looking for here are any vintage piece or studio pottery piece that has resale value or just something I can keep at home. This had a nice shape to it, but with that fake crazing on the bottom, definitely a newer piece. And then I got intrigued by this one. I think it was the shape and the ombre of the color. Nice glass piece, but I'm not going to go for it that day. Into the candles, the aisle that smells so good, and into candle holders / wire racks. Oddly enough, this is like one of my favorite sections because everything's all tangled up, and so you really do have these little discoveries. Now, this was a nice piece, Lenox, and very, very pretty. But for $7.50, just for one of them, I don't know that that would necessarily sell out of our booth. So I left that. Then we have some very pretty clear glass or crystal for $6.50 each. And then here looks like a companion Lenox piece, but it's marked for $25. Nonetheless, I mean, like, I love Lenox, really high quality. That's a really, really cool container dish. The planter, though, I left it with that high price. And then it has such a traditional style. I don't know if people would go for that in like a booth situation, so I left it. Okay, into these, the crazy wire things. You can get anything from like a tabletop decoration to a wine rack. And then here I see this coiled wire candlestick holder, which was very large and tall. And I know these are newer. However, I just kind of liked them, and I liked that there was a pair. And then the prices were super reasonable, particularly for the scale of these. I think they'd be really great in the booth, adding some height to a corner or some drama. So I went ahead and grabbed those. I think it was like $4.50 and $6.50. So for around $10, I think that's going to be a good investment, and I could probably get $25 for the pair. Here's just kind of an interesting gothy piece. I guess it was sticky. And then here's a cute little flower candle holder. And again, I just love kind of discovering these little things that peek out. This looks like pewter, but for $8.50, that's just too pricey for both of them. Especially when those other large ones were only like a $10 investment, you know, then you're looking at $16 for two pewter ones, even though they have a cool twisty piece to them. Okay, so here, this looks like maybe silver plated, and it's in a mid-century slender style, and there were several. However, these were marked at $8.50, $6.50, $4.50, you know, so getting the whole collection would have been pretty spendy. So I left those for someone else. And actually, I revisited this Goodwill the other day off camera, and they are still sitting there. So that's kind of unusual, actually. So I think that they really had the pricing off if no one in the meantime even picked them up. I thought that was a cute piece, though I left it. And just taking a step back, especially with those jumbled shelves, it's really important to like take a step back and look. Okay, so I don't know if I knew I was filming here. Traveling back. Don't know what that's all about. Anyway, here we are into the small frames and folders. Here's a cool vintage trapper keeper. I think there's resale value for these. This one's rather plain, but I decided not to go with it just because it's not totally my vibe, and there was only one. And even though it was only 99 cents, and maybe I could have made, I don't know, I don't even know what they go for, like $10 online. When it comes to online listings, I like to list for at least $20 because it is a lot of work to set up the photos and pack it and print out the label and tape everything up, and so I just don't feel like it's worth it for like $10 items. Then looking into some smaller frames, of course I'm going to pick up the gold one and take a look at it at least. And one more caught my eye, but no, not quite right, not vintage in any way. Then I'm moving into the wood. This looks like an interesting shape, but it was a newer contemporary piece. Same with this carved wood piece, really chewed up on the edge, and from Ross. So yeah, we're gonna leave that one behind. Made in India, however. So I do like this carved wood kind of motif. I don't even know if it would sell for $12.50, and you can see I'm like really thinking about it. I guess I really liked it, the dark wood. Okay, and then here, this I think was one of the big scores of the day. This is a brass vintage door knocker in a lion, and I believe it's on a homemade wood plaque. So the plaque looks like newer, and you can kind of see on the edging there that it does look like a homemade piece in a woodworking shop, and then you can hang it with the doorknob knocker. Now those online go for around $60. Me, of course, I find the pineapple. That's a newer piece, and I have plenty of pineapples for sale in the booth, so I left that one. This sweet little heart hanging shelf for small trinkets, and then a stylized head book end. And then this West Germany wood kind of chalice. I went ahead and grabbed this for myself because I actually have like a yellow wood piece that is very similar, and I put like my Q-tips in it. So I'm like, well, I could put my cotton balls in that one. So I'm going to bring that one home. Moving into some wood boxes and whatnot. Let's see what I find here. You and me. I liked this little poster on metal, though I didn't really have a purpose for it. I think that's the kind of thing that I might show my kid, and for 2 seconds they'd be interested, and then they'd be like, okay, moving on. So I left that one as well. Then I did see this geometric shaped, looks like maybe like a pencil cup, pen cup. It's dark wood, hand painted, but the sides had like gaps along the seams, and so it's kind of coming apart. So we passed on it. And then here's a nice wood hinged box with a broken hinge, sadly. Ooh, frisky. I might have picked that one up because I think that carved wood boxes sell. Here is a real curious piece. I mean, hanging hand, doing like a gesture. So I thought it was curious enough that I would go ahead and put it in the cart. It seems to be obviously handmade. This I was just picking up out of curiosity to see if it was made by Dart or Home Co., one of those. And it was. It didn't quite catch which one, but it was one of the molded plastic pieces that are classic mid-century. Though painted white, it would not have much of a resale value at all. And if you're on my Instagram, you saw the wall of such pieces that my booth partner has, which is incredible. And anytime I've been thrifting and picked up one of those, I give it to him, and he has his dining room wall just covered. This was an interesting piece. Does anybody know what this is? I couldn't quite make heads or tails of it, but I thought it was pretty. It was missing one of its slats. So I didn't really investigate further, but curious, interesting wood box there. Here we are into the clear glass, and this Goodwill has a tendency to have really, really jam-packed shelves when it comes to clear glass. Here's a set of cups that I think were plastic, so I put those back. And then here is an interesting brass piece that I thought, oh, I could pick this up. And then I moved my hand and whoa, $25? Nope, going straight back onto the shelf. So someone else can pick that up and enjoy it. I think that's a pretty high price, even for the booth, but hey, it's not like totally outrageous. I think if someone were to keep it for their own collection, that would be a nice pickup. So they had some pretty good brass in the shelves this day. So this one I'm just trying to peel away layer by layer to get to it so I can take a look at it, and just trying to get things. There was like several bowls inside of it. Really nice piece. Seems to be somewhat contemporary, but that's okay. But what's not okay is that it was $30, and from a resale perspective, that's not gonna do me any good. So we left that one as well. Let's see what else I can find in here. Looks like a silver-plated platter. And I have a silver-plated platter in the booth right now for sale. So I'm hoping to move that one soon. So I'm not in the market to pick up any others. All right, and then here in the linens, this is clearly vintage. It has kind of that two-sided feel to it. Really great lemon yellow with like a marigold. Only $7.50. However, it was in pretty bad shape in terms of just, it has pilled a lot and then like picked up, dirt or other lint from over the years. So the pills were like a dark color. So I had to leave that behind. I didn't want to put in the effort of shaving that thing down. I don't even really have a shaver because I'm not in like the vintage clothing. It's not my focus. So we passed on that one, but it was a really great piece. And of course, I'm always looking at handmade Afghans. That one was cute, but not anything to scream about. I'm also aware that it's becoming summer here in the United States, and particularly here in Arizona. So I don't think I'm going to be selling much of anything in terms of blankets. And I'm going to pause my narration and crank up the volume because you get to hear a massive thrift store disaster. Don't worry, everyone was okay. Back to this suitcase. It was only $9.50, and the elastic was in good shape. Yeah, really, really nice vintage suitcase. Now here's my question. Do these sell? I don't know. I've never tried to sell one before. So I think this probably would have been a good experiment, but I ended up passing on it ultimately. I don't really know what my reason was at the time. Maybe I just wasn't feeling adventurous or risky to try to sell something I hadn't sold before. So tell me what you think in the comments. Are those still popular? I know a number of years ago it was really popular to get vintage suitcases and stack them up in a corner and put a lamp on it or whatever, but I don't know if people are still using them in their decor or used as suitcases legitimately. So let me know. Did I miss an opportunity there? Okay, into hats and belts. I am searching for a belt for myself for a dress that I bought, but I really am coming up short, and the ones that I want cost like $120 online because I want like a really thick kind of corset belt style, but I may have to just let that dream go. Here was what looks to be a vintage scarf, and it was a really nice bright lemon yellow 1950s style. But as you can see, or maybe I can show, there was quite a large tear in it, sadly. So I had to leave it, but it was so, so, so pretty, and definitely something a lady once tied over her curlers. Oh, there's that tear. You know, I just picture it tied over curlers. Oh, and then I dropped it. How sad. Anyway, it's gone back because it has that damage that I cannot fix. And here we are into smaller bags and purses, which I do not need any more of, but I've always got to look because I do enjoy seeking purses. And also, I've been on the hunt for a new purse for myself. Not at this thrift, but at another thrift, I did find one that was made like by a really good leather company. And even though it wasn't tooled leather, it was smooth. And I went ahead and grabbed that. I think I have that in my last video, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. This is an old meat grinder that was made out of a really heavy, I guess, iron. I don't know. But it's kind of in a more, I don't know, country antique style. We don't really do that, though I probably could have tried for it. This I saw peeking out and I thought, that looks like a mid-century piece. And sure enough, it is. It's made in California. I looked up the Gladmark maker, and this is a walnut wood with a pewter dish. So it was a complete set. And for $3.50, definitely had to have it. I think I'm going to put that in the booth because we sell a lot of kitchenware and serving dishes out of the booth. So that was a massive score, especially at $3.50. Into the dishware, this particular trip, I mean, it was just lousy with plates and teacups and bowls. I mean, really, really jam-packed. However, I took a very close look at all of these, and there was also a gentleman who had been searching through them for quite a while, and I was kind of watching him, assuming that he knew quite a bit about dishware if he was really taking such a thorough look, and he walked away empty-handed, so I kind of was like, well, he's probably right. So I took a quick glance, but did not pick up anything there. Here's a little piece of brass screaming at me from all the other things. This is a back scratcher and shoehorn combo. And this was actually, and I think it was $3.50. Super big score because they have really good resale value, actually, like in the kind of like $30 to $40, maybe even $60 when I looked them up. So that was a really good score. Love this little wood clock. Very, very cute. Though, as you know, I love clocks, and they're kind of not the best addiction for me because they usually need to be fixed. So I passed on that one. And then here's another plastic pretending to be wood with the temperature and then like a humidity reader. They seem to be broken, sadly, so I left that one. Cute little eagle on the top, however. And for $30, yeah, definitely leaving it. So here I am in the books. Always have to look for, that original Harry Potter series. It's a long shot, but I'm not going to go without it these days. But also, I have been reading more this year than I ever have since becoming a mom. So I'm really embracing this time, and Goodwill is just an awesome, awesome place to pick up a book for $3.50. Just wonderful. Okay, so here is the final haul. As you can see, I think it was pretty successful. Like, I like all of the pieces that I got. I'm super excited to sell them. I think that there's a really good split between what I can put in the booth and what I can put online. So I will be listing these things very, very soon. I've been a little slow. I'm sure you've noticed, I think it's been a couple weeks since my last video, but just been busy with life and work and other things. So I don't apologize for that. Actually, thank you for hanging with me, even when I'm so inconsistent. I appreciate you. Now, here was just a curious piece. Now, I looked these up. It's like Giuseppe Armani was the artist, and they're priced very, very high, but they really are lovely 1920s pieces, 1920s style at least. I don't know when they were made, but at $30+ each, I left it, and that's just a quick zoom in of all the goodies. I went ahead and staged them a little bit in my studio, and they are looking mighty fine. Pretty happy with this haul. And I really love that lion door knocker. I think that's my favorite find out of all of them. And then I also just wanted to show off quickly those bright teal glasses. They really had a glow to them, and sure enough, they are uranium glass. So I will be listing those online. They do have a higher resale value. This was another thrift trip where I found a bunch of wood stuff, a soapstone lion, and that big huge thing is a wine rack, so that will be in the booth. And then I just wanted to show you some of my brand new listings. This handsome fellow I found at a thrift store in town called Thrift to Thrive, which is a really popular place. And he was $10. And there is none other for sale on the market right now. So he's going to be $125, and he is stamped by the maker. Here are those adorable, adorable Southwest glasses. And actually, I just had to come back in and re-edit this part because they sold while I was doing my final edits on the video. So hooray for that. And here I am cruising through my Etsy shop, just kind of poking around to show off a few things. This is a pair of brass dishes in a leaf shape. I love them so much. I used them in my home for a while and then decided to sell them because I had another piece to replace it. This is a set of beautiful books that I picked up recently. They have really gorgeous illustrative plates inside. It's I think it's called Stoddard Lectures. It's a lecture series about different countries, but really stunning, would look amazing on anyone's shelf if they like that kind of older Victorian turn of the century style. And forgive me, I'm showing off that pupper again. He is Royal Hager. I forgot to mention that, and he has an embossed imprint of Royal Hager, the name, along his belly. Here we are cruising around. Oh, I wanted to show these off. These are some of my favorite tumblers I've ever found. I think that they're probably 80s, but they're like a Southwest lime green and bright orange with navy blue geometric design. It's by Sarah, which is a really well-known glassmaker. And then back to the shop, scrolling through, I also wanted to show off this very cute postmodern couple of candle holders. Love that pair. They're really adorable. And then these are the brass napkin ring holders that I found a while back. It's a hammered brass. They are listed for sale. And finally, let's see, what else? Am I just cruising through? There was one more, maybe a couple more. I was really just kind of being whimsical and picking the ones I wanted to show off. If you were with me a few videos ago, you saw me pick up these beautiful aquamarine blue glasses. I think that they are absolutely stunning, and they do really, really, really glow. The photos just don't do it justice. So those are also available in my shop. And finally, what else am I going to show you? The Heartstone USA circular wine jug is for sale, and I was able to clean it very easily. I still priced it way low compared to there's a couple other online for sale right now, so that one's ready as well. That's it, guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Bye.